Hi folks, welcome back to the channel. Today we're tying a fly that I've come up with that I've called the Temple Flame. So it's obviously got flame sort of colours to it, and it's a bit of a mini temple dog tube fly. Be highly effective during sort of late spring, early summer, Atlantic salmon targeting fly. So let's get stuck right into it. So starting off, we've got a Sean Stanton plastic tube. It's a black and gold fleck that I've melted the end of to create a little bit of an upturned flanged edge, and it's about 1 inch long. I'm going to start with some fire orange Uni 80, and we're going to come up about 1/3 of the way. And stop there. And then the first thing we're going to catch in is, this is just an orange floss, just to create a little bit of tag and give a little bit of colour just onto the tube at the back. So it doesn't need to be huge, just coming round a couple of turns. And then you can catch that in, and then to make sure that it's got a nice equal balance, I would catch this in sort of the length of the fly, or most of the length of the fly. And then you can chop that away. Okay, up next we're going to come back up to where we finished off with the floss, and we're going to come in with, this is basically the Willie Gunn Bucktail mix, so yellow, black, orange. Just take a nice mix, predominantly black and orange with a little bit of yellow in here. Just mix up your hands, and then you can decide where you want this. I'm going to go, this isn't a massive fly, so it's just over the back of the tube and no more. And just look to catch this in a couple of turns. And then you can, as always, put your thumbnail across this, flatten it out a little bit, and then catch it in. And at the same time, I'm going to come in with some, this is orange crystal flash. Two or three strands, it's up to you. Just going to set this on the top, just a little bit longer than the bucktail. Doesn't need to be excessive. A couple of turns down, and then you can fold this back. You can stop fighting with the bucktail, and then just make sure that's nice and tight in place. You can chop away these excess bits. And then at this stage I would recommend trimming your bucktail at a nice taper, and tidying up. You don't want to build up too much of a step by the time you eventually come to the front. It's not helpful. Okay, so I'm going to come back to at this point here, and then what we're looking to add in is, this is some orange Arctic fox. Just going to put a little bit of wax on the thread at this point. A little bit of orange Arctic fox, doesn't need to be too long, so you're probably looking at again, tips a little bit shorter than the bucktail. And what we're going to do is we're actually going to roll this round the shank. So this is just starting to build up a shape. and just check that you're happy with how you've got this. It's nice and balanced, and it's starting to give you the shape that you're looking for. When you're happy, which I'm relatively happy, you can come in and tighten down on this and tidy up. Okay, good stuff. So at this stage what we're going to do is we're going to grab, so this is a black and yellow Brahma cock feather, and I'm going to catch this in stem side on the side, and we're just looking to get a few turns onto the fly. So bring this nice and flush up against where you finished with the Arctic fox. Make sure it's nicely tied in. You can use your fingers or use a hackle plier at this point. I'm going to use a hackle plier. Doesn't matter if you've still got some of the softer fluff at the base of the feather, won't do you any harm at all. So just coming in, we want the longer fibres, so that's why I've caught it in by the base at this point. And then when you're happy with that, you can come in and catch it. That was sort of 3 turns. You can release your hackle plier. You come in, be careful with your thread, chop away that excess piece and just tidy up. Okay, good stuff. So what we're going to come in with next actually is something a little bit different, folks. We're going to come in with, this is some American possum that's dyed a sort of autumn orange or something like that. It's got a nice interesting name. It's by Future Fly. So I've just cut the front into a point, a nice catching point. Just make sure it's on the top. It doesn't need to be huge. As you can see, there's quite a lot of fibre on this. It'll have a lot of nice movement through the water. So just catch it on the top. Check you're okay where you are, which I am. And I'm actually going to come in a little bit of super glue onto this front bit just to secure it in place. Then give that a second or two and let it dry and do its thing. Okay, good stuff. So at this point we're going to come back in with a little bit of Arctic fox, predominantly looking at tips, and this is the brown, just sort of in keeping with this colour code. It would help if I didn't get fibres stuck to my hand with super glue. I'm just going to come in at about there, holding it on the top, and then catch that on. Okay, cool. What we're going to tie in now is we're actually going to come in with the jungle cock at this point. So back up against the brown, keeping this quite long, but again personal preference. If you want to go shorter, but I'm going to keep this quite long. Just come in with a couple of turns. And then you can either fold back or trim these ends away. I'm going to trim them forward and catch them in. Okay, good stuff. Now get a little bit of wax on the thread and we're going to tie in, this is quite a big Chinese cock feather in black. I'm going to tie it on the side, tip first. Just going around a couple of turns, folding that tip back. Then you can chop that off. And just make sure you've got that nice and locked in. A couple extra turns won't hurt you at this point. Just extra security, make sure that's not going to come out. And then you can proceed to get your turns in. Now obviously using the fire orange thread, you want to get these turns nice and tight together so that the red, as far as possible, isn't really shining through the black. Okay folks, home straight, last thing we're putting on is some Guinea fowl dyed orange, just to finish out that flame sort of look on the front of the fly. So again, catch it in with the tip, couple of turns, fold this back, you can clip that away. Again, doesn't need to be lots and lots of turns, but certainly want to get a little bit of a colouring on this. So just coming in, be quite a fiddly fibre, but try and put them one in front of the other anyway. Then when you're happy with what you've got, find a space, make a space. Catch it in, and you can fold everything back. Cut away this excess. And then tidy up and form this head section. It doesn't need to be massive, but you want to be able to see the colour of the thread at the front. Then when you're happy with that, you can come in and whip finish. just going to take the lighter to the front because there's a couple of wee bits of fluff here that I don't like. Clean that up a little bit and then come in and super glue, varnish, all that good stuff. Well folks, hope you enjoyed that. Really fun to tie, really enjoyed using this possum stuff. Nice little tube temple doggy style fly that's not too big. Certainly gives you a different perspective using that sort of fibre. Sort of fly that'll be really good at that sort of crossover point between spring and summer. Certainly get you a salmon or two on its day. As always, if you enjoyed that, drop a comment, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. It'd be great to hear from you. Until next time, cheers.